Hello, future engineers, and welcome to a video tutorial on our next inventor part, which is to do assemblies. I'm going to be out for the next couple days because I have COVID, so stick around. I'm going to be coming to you live, recorded from home. So let's take a look. We have a new topic underneath subplans. Here we go. There's going to be a video posted. The video that you're posted in here is the one that I'm making right now, so it's not there. But let's take a look at what a assembly is. So we're going to open up this presentation. We'll take a quick look through it. So inventor assemblies are the ways that we take multiple parts and put them together. This right here is a crazy example. There's so many parts that goes into creating an engine block. So we put all this together and then we can illustrate how the parts fit together. It's a great check to see if we model the parts correctly, everything like that. So that's what we're trying to do, is take multiple part files and put them together. All right, so we're going to use the assembly activity to finish this, and you can use a pencil or pen to fill out this document. You can just open it in Notability. So assembly files, why we create them, so you can see how parts fit together. You can have all the necessary parts. If you don't have enough space to house all the parts, for instance, if we're creating an engine and like we're throwing it into a car eventually and it's just too big, how motion impacts your assembly. Is there any conflicts that like an arm can't move all the way because it hit something else? The weight and size of the assembly and the cost of the assembly. So assembly files are really, really important for that end stages of manufacturing. All right. Also very important, we want to make sure that we're saving all of our parts in our assembly in one folder. If we don't do this, we can have broken links, and then it looks like we didn't do the assignment. So when I go through this, pay close attention to how I save these parts. Cool. All right, so let's, this is going to have all the steps on creating an assembly, but I'm just going to run through it right now. So in order to get started with that, we're going to go over here to our assembly practice parts. This right here, we're going to open a new window and we are going to hit our download button. When we download this, what we're actually downloading is a zip folder. So when I open this up, you can see at the top, it says that it's a compressed folder. That's because it keeps everything locked together, because again, file management is really important for these. So I'm going to go over to these tools and I'm going to hit extract all. With extract all, I want to find the location of it. So I'm going to browse and I'm going to go over to my desktop and I've got an IED folder in here. I'm going to make a new folder that I'm going to call Puzzle Cube. That's what we're creating, and we're going to select that folder. Then I can extract. I want to make sure this is under desktop IED Puzzle Cube. Show extracted files when complete. Extract, and then under this PC desktop IED Puzzle Cube. All my files are inside of here. What's really important is that we save our assembly when we're done inside of the same folder. Otherwise, we'll have some broken links. Cool. Now that we have all that, let's go into Inventor, and we are going to hit the most important button of all time right up here. And we are going to go over to our assembly standard.iam. You can choose this one. We can also go into English and choose standard inch. Doesn't really matter because assemblies are using the information from the parts. So up to you. I'm going to hit create. Loads up. All right, now let's hit place. And oh, the last assembly I was doing was a train. So I'm going to go back over to my desktop, find my IED folder, go to Puzzle Cube, and I'm going to start with, oh, what part do I usually start with? Let's take a look at our assembly, and this will be a good moment to think about it. So if I'm looking at this, I'm going to start with this blue piece. It's on the bottom over here, and I can orient this in a way that I appreciate, and then we'll get into it. Cool. So let's go back into Inventor. I'm going to grab that blue piece. I'm going to open it up. And now this is really important. I have this blue piece here. I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to choose this option to place grounded at the origin. When it does that, it places my part down on the origin, and that keeps us at 0, 0. It's really, really effective. You can ground a part after that, but it's not the best. So if you forgot to ground it, you can right click and there's this little grounded check that you can uncheck and then check. The reason why we have it grounded is that everything is going to be constrained in relation to this part. So this part cannot move. I can click and drag and it doesn't move. Now if I go over here and unground it, I can click and drag and move it around. We want this to be grounded. Cool. All right, now I want to orient my cube in the way that I can see, just like this one over here. So I get like this upside down T shape. So I'm gonna go into Inventor, and I'm just gonna go to my front view, go to the bottom view, and then to this top right corner. And now it's oriented in the proper way. I'm also gonna go over to View, Visual Style, and change it to Shade with Edges. It's just a little bit easier to see. Cool. Now that I have my first part in here, I want to take a look at what's the second part that I want. I'm going to grab this green part so I can throw this right on top of it. So I'm going to go into Inventor, I'm going to go into my assembly, and I'm going to hit place. I'm going to grab the green part, I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to place it over here. Cool. So now you can see that this part can move around freely. It even cuts through my other objects. This part cannot. So in order to get this to be constrained to this, we're going to use these tools up here inside of our relationship panel. This is our constrain tool. So we're going to hit constrain, and let me grab this over here. We've got our first type of constraint. This is going to be the only constraint that we're going to need the whole time. That's our mate constraint. What mate constraint says is that two faces either are flush with each other or mated together. So those are our two solutions, whether or not they're mate, which means that the two faces face opposite or opposed to each other and they touch together, or flush, meaning that they are aligned with each other. Let's do a quick demonstration. Let's say that I wanted the top of this face, right here, I'll select it, to be mated or touching the top of this face. When I do that, it flips it over, and now this is touching that face. Cool? Now, I also can go and do the flush constraint and say that this edge is aligned with this edge. So this is under my flush solution, click there. Now you can see that those are applied, and these will always be flush with each other. We can move them apart from each other, but they're still flush. Cool. So let's go through and do a couple of these parts together. If I'm looking at my drawing, and I think this is fully unconstrained now, we can always take a look and see if there's any constraints placed on these by opening up our model tree. What we want to do is we want to make sure that the top of the green face is kind of inside of this elbow pocket over here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go over here, the top of the blue face. So constrain, and I'm going to choose the top of this blue face, and then I'm going to rotate around on my view cube until I can see the pocket that I want it to sit on. Click on both of those, and now you can see that it's closer to what I want. Now when we constrain with our mate and flush, typically we need 3 constraints. So now that we've got this mated, I'm going to use 2 flush constraints. This strategy is known as mate flush flush. So we mate 2 faces together, and then we flush the sides that should be aligned with each other. So in order to do this, I'm going to place this where it's kind of wonky, out of whack. The reason why I'm doing that, it's easier to see once the constraint is applied. So I'm going to go over to constrain, and I'm going to choose flush. And I know that the outside of this face should be flush with the outside of this face. Cool. And then I'll hit apply. And now when I click and drag this, notice it only moves back and forth. That's what's known as a degree of freedom. Every single time that we add a constraint, we remove 2 degrees of freedom. There are 6 degrees in freedom in total. That is front, back, up, down, left, right. Those are our degrees of freedom. So what we're going to do is we are now going to flush these. So I'm going to get them slightly out of whack. Go over here, make sure flush is selected, and choose those 2. Hit apply, and now I'm good. Sweet. So I can grab the orange piece over here, grab out this, and we're going to do the same strategy where we're going to do mate flush flush. So if I go over to my drawing, I can tell that this long part of the orange piece is mated. It touches on this green and blue face over here. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to find the long face on the orange piece, which is only over here. So I'm going to grab constrain. I'm going to choose this face and then choose this face over here and hit apply. Now, when I do this, those faces are touching, but this is a little wonky. It looks a little weird. It's not totally done yet. And what is going to help this is that we are not going to actually rotate this. We're going to allow the constraints to rotate it for us. So within constrain, I want to say that this face and the top of the orange face are facing the same direction. And notice the little icon right here. You see the arrows are pointing out in the same direction. So flush not only gets them flat and even with each other, but assures that they're facing the same direction. So I'm going to choose flush. I'm going to choose the top of this green face, and then I'm going to choose the top of this orange face. I'm going to hit apply, And now we're getting closer. I can click and drag this, and you can see it only moves back and forth. So I did mate, flush, and now I'm going to use another flush. I know that this blue face and this orange face should be aligned with each other, so I'm going to go over here, hit constrain, and I'm going to use my flush constraint to constrain those together. Hit apply, and now I am all good with that piece. I'm going to go back over here. Now you may be tempted to hit the home button, but if you want it to always go back to this new face, like right now if I go home, it goes a little wonky. I'll go back to that view that we were working on. If I want this to always be my home face, I'm going to right click and I'm going to hit set current view, and I'm going to fit to view. Set current view as home, fit to view. Cool. All right, there are 2 more pieces left. I'm going to let you try those out on your own. Thanks so much for watching, and thank you for dealing with this sickness. It stinks, but I believe in each and every one of you. Have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you later.